But sir, you've been doing this since 1982. You are a
Yes.
multi-state offender at this point. You have convictions in Alabama. And do you want to die in prison, sir?
No, I don't.
Do you want to die out in the community then? Because if you keep putting this poison in your body, that's what you're going to get. You have two choices: death on the outside or death in prison, because you're doing life already in installments. How much of your life have you spent in prison?
Probably at least 20 years.
Insanity. You know what the definition of insanity is?
Doing the same thing over and over.
And expecting different results. And you can phrase that question to the DOC as well. This man, he has 44 convictions, not arrests, convictions on his record, multiple states, and he kind of checks the box. He even has sex offenses in his jacket, yet they continue to parole him and release him time and time again. And don't be fooled by the wheels he's on. He has multiple escapes in his jacket, including just a couple of years ago. If you can't make it up, can you imagine escaping and then getting a parole opportunity immediately after? I didn't know it was possible, but this is Connecticut. Now, anyways, we'll listen to this parole hearing and I'll unpack it with what details we have at the end.
My name is Guy Bryant, 123148.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Guy Bryant, inmate number 12318. Is serving a sentence of 13 years execution suspended after 5 years jail with 3 years probation for 2 counts of possession with intent to sell/distribute narcotics, failure to appear first, and sexual assault in the 4th degree. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of 12/25/2024. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed short-term sex treatment program, tier 2 alternatives to violence and alternatives to violence advanced. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low to moderate range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Members of the board, I believe.
Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Members of the board, I believe I deserve parole because I have worked tirelessly to confront and change the person I was. When I committed this offense, I deeply regret the harm I caused, and every day of my incarceration has been spent reflecting on consequences of my actions and striving to become a better person. During my time, I have participated in multiple programs aimed at rehabilitation and personal growth. These programs were not just boxes to check off; they were tools to help me truly change. I also remain regular contact with my sponsor and have a structured plan for maintaining my recovery on release, including continuous step work and daily check-ins. Members of the board, my goal upon release is to contribute positively to society, to be an asset to my family, and lead by example. I want to work, continue with my recovery, help guide others away from the path that led me here. I recognize the responsibility that comes with being granted parole and committed to earning back the trust of my community. If granted this opportunity, I will be not wasted. I will continue to grow and make amends here to live in a way that distributes respect, responsibility, commitment to change. And I'm also in a program right now, Good Intentions, Bad Choices, that complete the 24th of this month.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Bryant, we appreciate your opening statement, sir, and for your taking time to write out your statement. Did you do that yourself?
Yes.
Nobody helped you with it?
Well, I had different words. You helped me with different words, but I wrote it, then they told me the different words to use.
Good, good. Okay, so we'll ask you some questions. When we're done, we'll deliberate and give you our decision. All right, best of luck to you, sir. Mr. Pohl's going to start with the questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Morning, Mr. Bryant.
Good morning.
I mean, I have one question, Don. And it's just why? Right?
Why what?
43 different, but 44 now, right?
Who, me?
Something.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know why. You know, it's what's going on that you can't seem to stay out of trouble.
Well, at the last, before this happened, my grandmother had died. I just was going crazy, but I finally, got in my mindset. And plus, now, since I've been incarcerated this time, my brother died. So I'm the oldest in the family. I got responsibilities, even though I always had responsibility. I really got responsibilities now. My brother got 5 kids, and they look up to me, and they don't got a man in their life now. They call me. I talk to them at least once or twice a week, and text them back and forth. I just got to be there for my kids and my grandkids and them, and start, be a better role model, because I know the things I did was wrong, and at that time in my life, I can't use my grandmother as an excuse, but it has a play in the part. And, now at this time of my life, I've been sitting here, striving to do better and doing it in a positive way and showing people that I'm different. You know what I'm saying? Even the fars being in jail, I usually catch tickets and get dirty urines and all that type of stuff. Since I've been in 2.5 years, I ain't got a ticket, no dirty urines, no nothing, and I complied and do the right thing. Do the next right thing. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm trying to continue to do. I was an NA chairman for 16 weeks in Brooklyn. I was AA, and the whole time I've been in jail, I ain't missed a meeting until once I got on the list. And then I was in Brooklyn, and I was working out, and I got to get a knee replacement now. That's why I'm in a wheelchair. But I just been striving to do the next right thing and be a different person. So I really say I finally grown up. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I don't got, I don't got nobody in my life older than me, like I can depend on help for help or anything. My grandmother, all my mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, I don't got none of them. I'm the oldest in my family, period. And as it's time for me to step up and be there for somebody like my family used to be there for me.
Because I'm looking at these offenses, and it's like, part of it tells me that, was the possession with intent? What are you doing out there? Selling drugs to maintain some kind of source of income? Is that what's going on, or what?
Not really. When they said possession, it's more, and if you got more than one, I was getting high back then. You know what I'm saying? But I always kept a job. I always had a job.
But when I'm seeing the job piece, I'm seeing like a work history that's really scattered.
Yeah,
right?
it definitely was, because when I had a family, my grandfather had a business, so I didn't work on the table. I just worked, and I had a couple of different businesses myself. But I always had some type of job. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't on the books, but I always worked.
The last time you went home, or last time you were let out, you you went out on transitional supervision. And you caught an escape from transitional supervision.
Several.
And that was, 2019. Looking for like current events,
Mhm.
and, and I just need to know that you're going to do the right thing because, it's like, it appears that you've had like 14 opportunities on some type of supervision in the community, and 13 times they've been violated or brought back on charges or something like that,
Yeah, I can't speak for my past. All I can speak is what I'm doing now. That I'm going to do my best of my ability to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a different path now that I'm trying to be somebody other than the person that I used to be. And I got I got a job already. Once my knee replacement, I already got a job. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta wait for this. Like I should have had it already, but I wait. If I got pros sued, I would get it done out there. But I gotta get it done. But I'm asking for a chance. You know what I'm saying? I know I did wrong in the past, but I'm a different person now, and I'm trying to show. I need a chance to show you and everybody else.
And then one more thing, it's like, what were you thinking on the sex assault for? Like,
Listen,
how is that like?
I couldn't believe because truthfully, I didn't understand that myself because I kissed the girl. She didn't say nothing. 7 hours. She stayed in the house 7 hours. I drove her home, dropped her off, and didn't hear nothing. And then months later, I heard this, and I was at the same house. So it wasn't like I was running. And she called me after that. So I couldn't understand that. Really, I wanted to go to trial on that. But the whole thing was, if I go to trial on that, they said I had to go to trial on everything. But the way I got, that her boyfriend pushed her to do it. This is what I was told from friends who know her.
So so she had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you did that.
No, me and her. She had a boyfriend, and he knew she came over to my house. It wasn't the first time she came over there. You know what I'm saying?
Have you been to meetings in Norwich?
Have I been to meetings? Yes, AA and AA.
How many meetings are down there?
How many meetings
are down there?
In Norwich? I'd say it's one on Church Street, is one in is two in Greenville, two in on Town Street. It's probably, I'd say in the town of Norwich, you got 8 to 10 meetings, different meetings. They got some at the what's that off of what's that place where you get your food stamp card? They got some up there too.
So you've been to them?
Yes.
So Madam Chair, I really don't have much. This case is getting me a little.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Do you know that at 58 years old, you should have been phasing out of the criminal justice system?
Yes, I do.
Do you know instead that you rate out high in terms of risk to recidivate? Meaning they're fairly certain that you'll be back to prison based on your past?
I believe it, but I'm trying to change it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to show that the statistics always don't be right.
Yeah.
But I gotta have a chance.
And I hope that you are successful. But I have to tell you, you're my colleague, as you spoke, he talked about your escape a few years back, but you have a history not only of escaping, but you don't show up to court. I mean, you have several failure to appears, several violations of your probation, and you said that you were working when you were out there, but you were going into people's houses and working. You said you were working on somebody's house, and I'm assuming that means that you were doing like home repairs, renovations. Yeah. So you were doing all that high?
Huh?
You were doing all of that high?
At times. But I wasn't getting high all the time. You know what I'm saying? But at times I was.
So I'm trying to figure out, you said one of your triggers was having nothing to do. I'm curious to know if you were working and selling drugs, you had 2 jobs, one at the restaurant. When did you have time to do nothing?
Well, at that time, this is what I was doing then. I didn't have that all the time. Now I said that's my plan. When I got home, I got a job at the restaurant. I didn't have a job at the restaurant before. I was doing odd jobs.
Your information says that you put that you can return to the restaurant and return.
Because my nephew runs the restaurant. He already told me I could go back to I helped him out before, but I really didn't have a permanent job or the books there. But he's willing to give me one now.
So you've been through treatment. Have you ever taken a Tier 4 program since you've been in prison?
I think years ago, but not here lately.
Yeah. I'm just not sure what more. I mean, honestly, I can see that you have changed some based on your, like you said, about the tickets, and you don't have any dirty errands, and you have taken a number of positive programs. But sir, you've been doing this since 1982. You are a multi-state offender at this point. You have convictions in Alabama. And do you want to die in prison, sir?
No, I don't.
Do you want to die out in the community then? Because if you keep putting this poison in your body, that's what you're going to get. You have 2 choices: death on the outside or death in prison, because you're doing life already in installments. How much of your life have you spent in prison?
Probably at least 20 years.
Insanity. You know what the definition of insanity is?
Doing the same thing over and over.
And expecting a different outcome.
Different outcome.
Not going to happen. You said you're the oldest person in your family. What kind of legacy are you going to leave for your family? That you're inmate number 1234148? Is that the legacy you want to leave?
No, it ain't. That's why I've been trying to strive to do better and want to do better and plan to do better.
Yeah, well, you should have started doing that quite a while back. So I really do hope that you're successful, sir. This is a ton of mess here. Just poor decision after poor decision after poor decision for years. It's crazy. Miss Sasu, sorry.
Thank you. So I want to build on something my colleague just talked about, because she used the word that I was going to use, which is legacy. So your grandmother died in 2020, and I could understand how that could affect you. But before she died, what did she think of your behavior and how you were conducting yourself in the community? Did she talk to you about her expectations? And what did she say?
That it was time for me to step up and be the man that she knew I could be, and be there for your family members, because I was the oldest, and we was having, like everybody in our family was dying.
So my concern is I do think that you now have realized time has wasted and that time is precious. You lose people in your life. Nothing's guaranteed. But you're looking to go back to the same community where you have spent your entire life with this pattern of, I don't even know what to call it. So talk to me about how you're going to return to that area and not be the Guy Bryant that every cop on the force knows when they see you walk down the street, that you're going to be somebody else. Tell me how you're going to bridge that going back to the same neighborhood, because that's my concern.
Well, this is, I'm not that same person, and I know them same friends and the people I used to associate with ain't really my friends. It was a benefit from me dealing with them. It was a benefit for them, certain things. So I know I got to change the people, places, and things, and just deal with different and be with different people. That's the most important thing. I know I can't hang with none of them old friends, because the old friends don't want nothing in life. They don't want to do nothing. They don't want to do nothing better. I do. So I got to change that. So when I first come home, I'm just going to stick with my sponsor, my family, I go out, but I can say hi and bye, but it ain't there's no ending reaction with them. But for me, the first 90 days, I'm doing a meeting every day. That's my sponsor plan, a meeting every day. But, I got to change my choices. Like you said, we got choices now. I always had them, but I didn't use them. But I choose to use them now. And I choose to strive to be better every day. And I know being with the same people and doing the same things is not going to help me achieve what I'm trying to achieve.
So you seem to have an understanding of the risk factors, especially running into old friends, but somebody comes into the restaurant and says, hey, I got some good stuff. Meet me after work. What's your plan? How are you going to avoid those and identify these risks to yourself?
I can't say how, but I know it's the same thing here. It's drugs here every day in this prison. And I see it, and it's a choice that I don't want no more. You know what I'm saying? I already know what that's going to lead to. Nothing good from me doing drugs is going to help me in any positive way. It's not like I said, I see people do drugs almost every day, daily now, but that ain't what I want no more. You know what I'm saying? And I made that choice, and I'm going to stick with it. You know what I'm saying? I live, one day at a time on the drug thing, and I see it, but it's not what I want, because I know if I do that, all the choices that I made that strive to be better is going to go out the window, and it's not going to bring me where I'm trying to go.
What do you think will happen if 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you relapse and you're back in prison? What does that look like for you? Can you imagine what that might be? Like number of years? What does that look like?
That'd be a death sentence. Truthfully, I believe it would be.
I agree. I think it would be. So from a motivation standpoint, let's talk a little bit about going to meetings every day. I think that works. Legitimate employment to keep you busy. You have to pay taxes. You have to be a part of the community and do things the right way, which I think has been a problem in the past. You have to be there for your family, right?
Yes.
So what else can you talk to me about that's going to motivate you this time after all of these past opportunities that you failed in the community? I get the good intentions, I do, but tell me more about why you know this is going to work. What else is out there? Is it your children motivating you? Is it? Go ahead.
It's my family, period, but it's new thoughts. See, just like all this time, I did the same thing, didn't think about nothing different. And now it's time that, like this program I'm right now, it used to be good intentions, bad choices, but now there's new thoughts. And you got to have new thoughts and keep your mind on something positive and progress to do something better. Just like I'm going to do church, stay in the church. I was always in the church my life. I grew up in the church. but I'm going back, I go to church on a daily basis now, but I would go back and, I got, and you said the most important thing, you gotta, occupy your time with positive and good things, because if you don't, and you already know what happens, usually happens, and that I'm gonna occupy my time with all the positive things I can. You know what I'm saying? Church, spending time with the family, doing family outings, and I got to go to program. That's the most important thing for me is my NA meetings and steps and going to meetings. But that's one of the most important things for me. I got to do it. I know that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm getting older. My health is failing and stuff. I got rheumatoid arthritis too, and
Yeah. So you have probation following
yeah,
this.
3 years. Yes.
What do you think is going to be different this time? Because clearly you did not use probation and parole in the past as a resource. Do you look at this differently now? Do you see them as
The whole
somebody
thing
that's
is they're trying to help me. At that before, I never looked at it like that. It was just like, I'll get out of jail, but do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think about the things that they were giving me to help me and use them to help me strive to do something better. But now I am.
okay? Do you think that you've gotten to a place where you can put the pride aside as
Oh,
an older man and ask for help if you need it?
Definitely, I have down. I be at the one of the instructors in the thing says, Mr. Brown, I just really appreciate you because you know how all the younger people be at the programs and they don't want to speak. That's my thing that I speak up and I talk about. Because if you don't talk about the problems, you're gonna keep it in your head and then it's gonna go somewhere else. So I like to, what I'm saying, any program I'm in, they'll tell you I love to talk. That they have to stop me talking sometimes because I know what I need for myself is talking down and expressing myself to let myself know I'm better than what other people think. But I gotta show them that, and by showing them, I'm smart. I've been smart all my life. I just didn't use it for my advantage, and now I'm taking that time to do that.
I think that is a very important understanding of yourself that you've come to. And unfortunately, it's taken many years for you to get there. I hope that while you are still within the institution, that whatever you can share with the younger inmates, maybe you could do some good and pay back your debt to society a little bit by showing them that it's taken you this long to get to this point and maybe help them get to that point sooner. Because I think that that's a very valuable lesson that you've learned that you could pass on. So thank you for speaking.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
I wouldn't mind talking to youth on the street if I can get that opportunity to do that, to help somebody not to go through what I went through and take all this time out of their life.
I think that would be a great use of your life lessons, but I would just caution you that the most important thing to do is take care of you first. Take care of you first and get stable. And then obviously you have a lot to say. And I think that there would probably be a lot of young men who would be interested in listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sassa. So give us a few minutes to talk about your case, Mr. Bryant.
It's full.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, this looks like a hot mess on paper. Mr. Bryant is taken care too. He's taken a couple other good programs. He hasn't received any tickets. I'm hopeful that he would do well with some parole supervision based on these offenses. There's something that I would want to keep him here for another couple of years on. But I'm certainly open to hearing what the board members have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller. So, Mr. Bryant does rate out as a high risk to recidivate. In his past, he has had some assaultive behaviors, but those were back in the early 90s. That aside, he has a history of being in possession of narcotics, having drug paraphernalia. He obviously, his criminal history obviously is indicative of a person who struggles with substance abuse, as he has stated that he has for a number of years. I think that this sex assault 4 was a dose of reality for Mr. Bryant, that you can't just go around doing whatever it is that you want to do. And he does not have a history of this kind of behavior. That in no way,
Right.
shape, or form condones the behavior, but
Right.
I have not really seen any of that. I mean, he has several several offenses that he has committed over the years, but none of them were ever related to this. He is going to have an opportunity to address that behavior even further when he's out in the community, both on probation and parole, if we grant him here today. And I think that the parole and community services ability to remand or Mr. Bryant, if he falls by the wayside, will be beneficial to the community and to us as well. He doesn't have the greatest history on us under supervision. However, I would support his discretionary parole at this time because he really has completed all of the programs. He has been able to stay out of trouble. And this would be his reward. It will be up to him to sink or swim. So I would support parole today.
I agree with both of you. The extensive criminal history, it's dominated your life story for the last several decades. You have an opportunity to change the next chapter. And I think you need to understand that one of the reasons we're even talking about it today, about the potential of discretionary parole, is that you have acknowledged and you have shown us through the programming. You've mentioned new thoughts. It seems like you're benefiting from tier 2. You are reflective. You have actually gotten to that point after many years, and sometimes it takes people 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. It's taken you more. But I do believe that you've indicated that you understand the consequences of remaining in the life that you've chosen and that it's time to make a change. So, I can't come down there and check on you, but if you're committed to a relapse prevention plan and going to meetings and understanding what you need to be successful, I don't think we'll see you again. And I would be willing to give you that chance this time based on the conversation today.
Thank you, Ms. Sasso. So I have a no driving. It was his suspended license was annulled in July of last year, but he still was driving without one. I have this problem sex behavior treatment and no victim AE. Is there anything else?
I had
Is there
to go
help?
out for some reason there.
Well, he has a 4. He says crack, cocaine, and marijuana.
What's the not problem?
I just said marijuana and cocaine.
Okay.
I can use it as a graduate detention.
No, I don't know. I'm totally fine with not having it. I just
Okay.
had it approved.
So with regard to Guy Bryant, 123-148, you spoke, Ms. Sasu, about a halfway house. I have that he has a sponsor. His sister has agreed to sponsor him. So I did not have a halfway house condition. So
It was, if she wasn't approved, was Norwich was the second choice.
Right, right. So with regard to Guy Bryant, 123-148, I move to grant discretionary parole on or after his earliest eligibility date, December 25th, 2024, with the following conditions in addition to the standard parole conditions: not to operate a motor vehicle, he'll participate in problem sexual behavior treatment in the community, and he's to have no contact with AE Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Mr. Bryant, there's a protective order with you and that lady who you kissed, you say you kissed.
Yes,
She
yes.
doesn't want anything to do with you. Don't go around her. Don't invite her to your house. Don't ask her to clean anything. You'll be right back in prison. There is a
Okay.
standing protective order.
I
that
know,
does
for
not
25
expire
years.
until-
Yeah, I know.
All right, stay away. Good luck, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you guys, all of y'all. Today's 24, right?
Today's the 13th.
So I'm saying 24 is a year, right?
2024, yes.
Good
Good for you. Come on, bro.
Okay, and they granted. And did you hear what he said to the CEO at the end there? He wanted to know what year we were in, which makes me wonder. I mean, did he really not know we were in 2024? Keep in mind, this parole hearing happened 12/13/2024. He was immediately granted parole. I'm covering this 5/19/2025. I do want to let you know I ran a search to see if he's still out. And by all accounts, he is still out. I don't see him any news reports. I don't see anything in the jail. So I do think he's still out. Good for him. But he really asked what year it was, which makes you wonder, how do you ask that question unless he's just looking at, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, they granted. And, this was before Lady Holly joined. So I have info from Sir Richard. I love going back into the spreadsheet and seeing Sir Richard. It's like very nostalgic, right? He has all the work he puts in there, and we can always dive back into it. And it's just a long. Remember, Connecticut also only shares 10 years of info. So the moment 20, this was 10 years. So you just have rest after rest after rest after rest. It's 1, 2, 3 pages. And keep in mind, like, he's been in and out of prison through all this as well. He has a lot of driving while intoxicated, which they did mention, he shouldn't drive with the license or whatever. But think about that. Just that, you can get more time for driving intoxicated, like second or third offense, than he gets for all of this stuff. But look at, here's his escape. His escape first degree is 2019. I would love to know what he did on the escape first degree. I really would want to know. But there's no articles on it. So you can get an escape for leaving a halfway house, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like escaping from prison, like what's going on in Louisiana right now. By the way, I am covering that on Mandoo Channel 1 under the jailbreak playlist if you want to get caught up on that, on the, what was it, all those inmates that escaped from Louisiana prison. Crazy jail, I should say. But yeah, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, I don't know. Here it is, a full essay charge, which he talks himself out of. They don't even really pressure him on it, which always drives me nuts. Oh, I just kissed her. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's exactly what happened. That's why the judge gave you a restraining order and you took the charge all the way as a felony. So now you can have a dirty jacket because all you did was, But what can you do? What can you say? I hope he stays out. I kind of doubt the wheelchair thing. I think it's more like, manipulation. He understands the system. He knows how to do his thing. But I'm just speculating. I have no idea. Anyways, what do you think? With that, I'll let you go.
But sir, you've been doing this since 1982. You are a
Yes.
multi-state offender at this point. You have convictions in Alabama. And do you want to die in prison, sir?
No, I don't.
Do you want to die out in the community then? Because if you keep putting this poison in your body, that's what you're going to get. You have
Right.
2 choices: death on the outside or death in prison, because you're doing life already in installments. How much of your life have you spent in prison?
Probably at least 20 years.
Insanity. You know what the definition of insanity is?
Doing the same thing over and over.